On today's episode, the number one start line man in obstacle course racing, Sean Corvelle.
This is the world's toughest podcast. Welcome to the world's toughest podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's world's toughest mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the world's toughest podcast.
I said, are you ready for this? Hey, yo, golf course, are you ready for this? I've got 10.7 miles of total hell waiting for you, designed by British Special Forces and our own expert course designers at Tough Mudder. I got a course designed to test all you got. I hope you brought it. And if you brought it, give me a hoorah. Oh, because we're going to test your fitness today. Hoorah. We're going to test your stamina. Hoorah. Strength. Hoorah. Camaraderie. Hoorah. Teamwork. Hoorah. Oh, and I don't know if all you got this, but we got a thing here at Tough Mudder we like to call mental grit. You got mental grit. Give me a loud hoorah. Hell yes, you do. But before you get out there, y'all know I got to feel you and I got to talk to you. So I'm coming in the middle right now. Oh, I want to feel you, Florida. I want to feel you. Make some noise for it. Yes. Great. I like this. Hey, everybody, can you see my hands? Let's focus in the middle right now. Focus in the middle. Look at me in here. Give me this right here. All right, focus up team. Everybody take a knee for me right now. Take a knee. I know, make some room. How exciting is this? Ooh, the first one of the year. You guys are setting the bar, not just for the United States, but for the whole world, because you know we are global right now. So you show them today what I know, what I've seen before when I've been down here with you guys, just how awesome you all are. You ready to show them that? I see a lot of headbands in here, our Legionnaires. Look at you, my man. How many times for you right now? 12. This is 12 for this gentleman today. This is what you all have in you. I'm talking to my newbies, too. I'm telling you, we got some great people in here. These different color headbands with our Legionnaires. Those are the people that I see when they're exercising on these courses. I see them exercising in that community. Camaraderie, looking out for one another, helping each other out. That's what I love about Tough Mudder. That's what separates us from any other OCR out there, is the way that you guys look out for each other, make sure everybody gets home. The teams that you bring here, the reasons and the stories that you're running. You know how you are. You've heard the stories. We got people come here, they're running for loved ones that may have passed away, people battling some sort of cancer or something like that. And then we just got our plain old badasses, our uber athletes that come here just to inspire us all. We welcome you all, yeah? We welcome you all. And what I want from you today is your best. That's what this is about. Nothing else. Yeah! My first timers, we don't have a clock. We don't do a clock here. We don't care about your time. Your time is going to help someone battling PTSD. Your time is going to help someone battling cancer. But your best will. That's right. And remember, nobody's better than your best, but your best will make you better. Y'all give me that today. I'm going to see you all at the finish line. Are we a team? Hoorah! Are we a team? Hoorah! Well, let's rise up as a team. Let's face our flag for our national anthem.
How great is that? Sean Corvelle. That's from a start line back in 2015, which is about how long it feels like since I've been on a Tough Mudder course. Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. My name is Will Hicks. You are listening to the number one rated obstacle course racing podcast in the world. Thank you for rating and reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts and Amazon.com. Today in our show, Sean Corvelle. If you've run more than a few Tough Mudders or if you've ever run Toughest Mudder or World's Toughest Mudder in the US, you already know Sean. He is one of the few guests I've had on the show that I feel like doesn't need to be introduced. But we have new listeners joining every week. And for those guys, Sean is the start line MC for Tough Mudder. You just heard him at a start line. For a lot of people, Sean was the first face of Tough Mudder that they met or that they heard from. For every OCR or every event you go to, we'll have a guy at the start line. Sometimes you barely notice them, like they say, ready, set, go, and you're gone. And sometimes they yell at you like a drill sergeant in the military. Sometimes they will quote motivational lines from a movie at you, which look, we're all Tough Mudder folks here, right? The first time I was at a non-Tough Mudder race and the start line guy was quoting movies to everyone in the start corral, I thought it was a gag. Like I was on the, my wave was at like 9:30 and I was watching the people at the 8:30 wave or 9 o'clock wave. And I looked around, I looked around to see if like everyone else was hearing this. Like, hey, check the, I was the, like, different things motivate different people, I guess, is the moral of that story. Why is he quoting the president from Independence Day? This race is in March. Anyway, Sean goes an entirely different way. When you are listening to him talk, you feel like you are being heard. His words and motivation and encouragement have had an impact on thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people over the years. Steve Jobs had a quote that he wanted to make a ding in the universe. It's very unlikely that you or I, or any of us, are going to change the world dramatically before we leave it. But every single one of us we can make a ding in it, right? We can make it a little bit better before we go. A small positive change for someone outside of yourself. And Sean is able to do that every single week at every Tough Mudder start line he is at. I am honored to welcome Sean to the show today. Before we talk with Sean, you can email me at will@theocrreport.com. You can follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at World's Toughest Podcast. And you can follow the OCR Report on Instagram at the OCR Report. There have been a couple of changes in the Tough Mudder schedule already, and there probably will be one or two more before we're done with 2021, if we're being real about it. Follow the OCR Report on Instagram for updates on all of that. If you would like early access to episodes of World's Toughest Podcast like this, text the word early to 619-485-2726. If you are a raving fan of the podcast, if you're like, man, that's the best show in the world, which I don't know if we are, but you're very kind. Text the word early to 619-485-2726. That's where the cool kids hang out. 619-485-2726. And if you would like more OCR podcast goodness, be sure to check out the other shows in our OCR Report family. OCR Talk, Obstacle Running Adventures, OCR Coven, and the OCR Report podcast. And tell your friends. Let's talk some news. Tough Mudder has launched their official podcast, No Excuses with Sean Corvelle. We're going to talk about this a lot with Sean in a minute. But you can hear Sean talk with Maddie Gregg in episode 1. We had Maddie on World's Toughest Podcast back on episode 2. So Sean is already ahead of us there. The first 2 episodes of No Excuses are available now wherever you listen to podcasts. Search for Tough Mudder. It'll pop right up. World's Toughest Podcast has a new sponsor. Have you ever asked yourself, what is the official non-alcoholic beer of World's Toughest Podcast? Very excited to welcome Athletic Brewing Company to the World's Toughest Podcast sponsorship family. Athletic Brewing Company is a non-alcoholic beer based out of San Diego, just like World's Toughest Podcast. I don't talk about this a lot, but I do not like alcohol. That is why I am very excited to talk about Athletic Brewing Company. Athletic Brewing Company is made by craft beer lovers at heart. Started by two guys who liked craft beer but did not want the alcohol included. So they were able to innovate and make some interesting flavors that just happen to be non-alcoholic. There's a lot of people that are looking to cut back on their alcohol consumption, or maybe cut it out entirely. And those people also just happen to be thirsty. So if you fall into that category, you should check them out. athleticbrewing.com. Official sponsor, World's Toughest Podcast. Thanks, guys. How cool is that, right? Go buy yourself a beverage. Free shipping if you buy 2 6-packs. athleticbrewing.com. Tell them Will Hicks sent you. Tough Mudder UK has announced they have had a record number of signups and are in the process of adding races to the schedule to accommodate the new signups. Quote, alongside our expert-backed COVID event plans, these calendar changes are the most meaningful way we're able to ensure people can get back on course this season, said Matt Brook, Managing Director, Tough Mudder UK and Spartan UK. I have been beating this drum for months now. We are going to have huge numbers of runners at OCR events as the year goes on. Maybe not in April or May, but as we get into the second half of the calendar year, 2021, I think people are going to be shocked at how high the numbers are for mass participation events like Tough Mudder and Spartan. I know 2021 still has some of that 2020 stink on it, but I am telling you, this is going to be a great year. This is going to be your year. Take that. Own it. 2021 is your year. One more plug. Text early to 619-485-2726 to get a link for early access to episodes before they go live to the world. I will also text you once in a while to ask if you have questions for an upcoming guest or to get your thoughts on something show-related or OCR-related. Maybe there's some news, breaking news I'll give you. Text early to 619-485-2726. It's not just one way, though. That's like my cell phone. So you can text me anytime there with your WTM or OCR-related questions. We'll figure it out together. Let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars. 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Our first review comes from Chris on Amazon.com. Chris writes, 5 stars. World's Toughest Podcast is what convinced and inspired me and my wife to make the leap from Tough Mudders to World's Toughest Mudder. All of the tips, news, and motivation that you need to get signed up and get running. 5 stars. Thank you, Chris. Very kind. Chris says our show is what convinced him to make the leap from regular Tough Mudder to World's Toughest. Look, that's a big leap. I get it. I did it. Every single one of us who runs World's Toughest Mudder had to make that leap at some point. And a lot of us did it back when there wasn't a 12-hour or 8-hour Toughest Mudder option like in between. It was either 10 miles or 24 hours. And thank you very much. Running 10 miles with your buddies on a Saturday is not the same thing as running 24 hours long in the desert. And World's Toughest is not just a really long Tough Mudder. It is a really long, really hard Tough Mudder. The obstacles are harder. The terrain is harder. The mental strain is on a different level entirely. World's Toughest Mudder is not easy. Sounds great, Will. Thanks for selling me on it. Oh, it sucks. You will hate it. I promise you that. You will be miserable. If you see me on course, you will probably be mad at me for talking you into it. But I promise you, when it's all over, and we're having brunch the next day, or you see me at the bar crawl the next night, you will thank me. You will give me a hug, and you will say, I am so glad I did it. And then you will probably punch me in the leg. But you'll apologize afterwards. I know it's February, and I know you probably don't feel ready. But here's the good thing. Nobody feels ready. I've told the story before. 2 or 3 years in a row, I told myself, I'm not going to run World's Toughest this year, but I'm going to run it next year when I'm in shape and when I'm ready. And then World's Toughest would roll around the next year, and I wasn't ready. And so I said it again, not this year, but next year. And that is a lie from the devil. You are not promised next year. If nothing else, COVID has taught us that. You are promised nothing. So finally, one year, 2015, after I ran a regular Tough Mudder, I just signed up for World's Toughest later that year. It's February. You and I are talking in February right now. You have plenty of time. And I know you're not ready right now. So it is perfect. That is ideal. Go to the website, toughmudder.com. Sign up for World's Toughest right now and figure out the rest later. Commit before you're ready, then get ready. I'll make you a deal. If you sign up for your first World's Toughest Mudder this month, sign up for 2021 World's Toughest Mudder before March 8th. Cash on the barrel. I mean, you are signed up, you have paid, you are committed, you are going. If you sign up for World's Toughest for the first time before March 8th, 2021, I will buy you a World's Toughest Podcast t-shirt. I want to give away 10 t-shirts. I'll give away more of them. If more people sign up, awesome. But I want 10 first-timers to sign up for World's Toughest Mudder. You will have 8 full months to train, and you will do awesome. Plus, I haven't looked. I don't know what it costs right now. It's only going to get more expensive as time gets on. If you wait until the month before World's Toughest, you're going to be paying $150 more than you would pay right now. Sign up right now. Commit before you're ready, and then get ready. If you sign up, if you're a first timer and you sign up, take a screenshot of your sign up page and text it to me, 619-485-2726, and I will send you a t-shirt. Maybe you got a friend. Hang on. Maybe you got a friend that wants to sign up. That's awesome. You get a first timer to sign up. If they sign up because of you, because you told them to, I'll send you both a t-shirt. I don't even care. I want first timers at World's Toughest Mudder, and I want you to sign up right now and commit before you're ready. If you are scared to sign up, that's fine. Text me, 619-485-2726, and we'll talk it out. I'll get you through it, and you'll sign up. Chris, I wasn't planning that. That was because of your review, so thank you. We're going to get more first-timers at World's Toughest this year, and it is because Chris left that review. So you can leave a review for the show like Chris did by tapping the purple podcast button on your iPhone or iOS device. Search for World's Toughest Podcast. Click our logo, scroll down to click Write a Review, and I will read it on a future episode. If you are not an iOS person, you can go to Amazon.com, leave a review, or go to lovethepodcast.com/tough. It's time to talk with Sean Corvelle. I've already told you about Sean. Most of you already know Sean. Very excited, very honored to have him on the show. It's time to talk with Sean Corvelle. Let's go to the phones. Sean Corvelle is the start line MC for Tough Mudder and the host of the official Tough Mudder podcast, debuting this week, called No Excuses with Sean Corvelle. He has motivated and encouraged thousands of runners before they go off to tackle their first toughest, or world's toughest mudder. I am honored to welcome to the show for the first time ever, Sean Corvelle. Sean, thank you for making the time.
Dude, I'm honored to be here. I think I'm more honored than you for the first time ever. How long have you been running your podcast?
You know what? We just started season 5. So This is our fifth year. And I've had people tell me like, get Sean on. And I'm like, you're right. And it just, for whatever reason, it's anyway, I'm glad to finally get you.
Wow, fifth year, you're going for that MASH record, that MASH being the TV series. I think they were the longest running series ever or something like that.
Yeah, they were like, they lasted longer than the Korean War is what they say. So,
yeah.
Hey, before
How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How, before we talk Tough Mudder, like, just how have you been? Like the last, it's been a crazy year. How are you?
Yeah, I think that comes out of everybody's mouth. Well, last year anyway has been a crazy year. This year has remnants of it, but I feel like, light at the end of the tunnel. But just like everyone else, just coping with it the best I can. It helps a lot when you have a lot of friends, and I'm very close to my family as well. So that keeps things, keeps me intact anyway. How about yourself?
You know what? I'm good. I can't complain. I mean, I haven't lost anyone real close to me. I know some people that have passed, but my family is, we're safe. And 2021 has a little bit of the 2020 stink on it still. But like you said, I think we're on the back half of this, and we're hopefully a good season's starting up soon. And I'm optimistic. I try to be optimistic. So
I feel good too that last night on my flight flying from Utah to Cali, everyone was wearing their mask above their nose. And because usually, I'm telling you, man, the past weeks or so, there was always somebody that either didn't want to wear their mask or didn't have a mask above their nose. And I try to say to everyone, I'm like, guys, even if you don't feel it, even if you don't believe it, whatever, just out of patriotism, humor us. Just humor us. Be a part of the nation,
Nobody likes wearing it. It's not like everyone's like, hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
But,
no.
Like at the start line in Vegas, especially, like when all the dust is getting kicked up, we've been doing it for years. So, we can figure it out.
Eventually you get used to it too. Hey, it's human nature, right? Something we're not used to gets that knee-jerk reaction of, no. So...
So this last year, has had World's Toughest Mudder 2019. Then Tough Mudder had a bankruptcy, and then Spartan purchased them to COVID. I know everyone's working remotely these days over at Team HQ, but what has the last 12 months been like kind of inside the Tough Mudder ecosystem?
It feels like it's building up. A lot of people think that I know everything that's going on with the company, and I really don't. You got to remember, I'm an independent contractor, and I've just been fortunate to be there since 2011, myself and Clinton Jackson. And most of my contact was with Kyle. We were doing the Motivation Monday stream. That was fun. And then now I'm talking more to everyone that's involved with this podcast now. So that's with some of the Tough Mudder people, and even like some of the Spartan people that help them with their podcast there. I like that. I want to hurry up and get that feeling of, that's family also. The OCR world is your family, not just your particular Mudder.
You know what? That's Joe DeSena. He's had a very successful podcast over there for a while. It's pretty good if you can pick his brain and kind of say, hey, what works, what doesn't work? Like you probably have a good resource right there.
Yeah. I've got, and in fact, I've had two people that work with him on his podcast working with me. So, boom, he sent me his brains.
Sean, you mentioned 2011 when you started. How did you get involved, like day one with Tough Mudder? How'd that start?
So that was Clinton Jackson, your buddy Clinton Jackson. Him and I are both comedians. We've been doing comedy for a long time. We knew each other in the Bay Area, and plus we're just very, 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 very close. And I believe he found it on Gigmaster. That was a website that performers would go to find work. And he had told me about it, but at the time, one, I was in LA, and two, I thought it was in Tahoe, and I thought that they wanted us to do comedy there, which would have been a hell gig. Nobody would care, So I was busy at the time anyway, so I had passed on it. He did it, came back. They loved him, man. He blew them away. Okay, they got in touch with his management and they were like telling him how much we want to lock him up and all that stuff. So then he told me, Sean, you'd love this, and this is like the closest person in the world to you telling you you're going to love something. You'll love this ice cream, Will. You're going to go for it. So I did Virginia that was following, and he was right. I've been doing it ever since, man.
Okay, so Clinton does you're the start line MC. Clinton does not finish. Well, I mean, he's the finish line, like electroshock therapy. That gig is a comedy gig, right? Like his job is comedy.
But let me tell you how that started. Originally, Clinton was working on right there in the infield. In between, he was on the big stage. We used to have live bands. He'd come on after the band would go off and then make announcements, be his funny self, and promote all of the merchants that were there. That was his original gig. That's what I thought I was going to be doing when I first went there, but I got marched down to the start line. Thank you. So what happened was I used to get done at the start line and Clinton would be done there at the infield once the bands were over. And we would be like hitting back to the hotel and looking at some guy they just hired to do the finish line, to be there at the finish line, some poor college kid or something. And we're like, look at that poor sucker still out here all day long and all that. But what happened was as I got to know or feel more the people at the start, I wanted to see them finish. And when I was hanging out there at the finish, the way that I saw the person that they had there, like greeting people as they were coming in, it was like, I just didn't feel like they were feeling it. So I would be there. I started staying there and I was putting headbands on people. And then eventually I just took over that person's job. And then what I found out was being at the finish line, I felt more like I was in the way because when people come in, they're really into their team, and they've got other things that they're concentrating on, and we're just in the way with the mic and all that. So that was when I decided to move the mic and the speakers up to electroshock. And I was on the end after you came out. So I got these early pictures of me just full of mud. And it was working great. It was wonderful, just inspiring people to run across. So as the year went on, Clinton would come and break me so I could have lunch, because I'd be doing the start and then I'd transition over to there. He came and he'd break me so I could have lunch. And I came back and I saw him on the mic there. And it was just a whole nother vibe, people were laughing, enjoying it. He had the motivation thing. And I was like, done. That's it. This is yours, man. This is yours. So that's how that came to be, and he was smart enough to go around the other side so he wouldn't get too muddy. Yeah.
Clinton at the finish line and you at the start line is like two perfect pairing of like the right person and the right job. Like it just is perfect. Like it's made for you get made for each other.
Yeah. It evolved, and credit to Tough Mudder that they allowed us to sort of evolve at those jobs, and they didn't get in the way or say, no, we don't like, or we want you to. I mean, every now and then, they'd say, of course, do this. But for the most part, they left us alone and, let it evolve.
Tell me about the start line evolution. Like, do you remember your very first start line speech?
So when I went to Virginia for that first time and they marched me down to the start line, very first day, it was still nighttime, cold, snow on the ground. And, they walked me over to, it wasn't even finished yet, put up, nothing was done. You had electronic equipment, nothing was fixed or anything, and I was coming from Hollywood, I'm what you call it, with SAG, that's union, baby. We don't touch nothing. They just call me talent. You show up, there's a hot mic, you're done, you leave it and go. But I was really jonesing at the time to get out of that Hollywood scene. And I felt right away that vibe. I was watching all the people working around me, all the Tough Mudder employees that were working around me. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. So I didn't care. I was like, okay, I was ready to go. I'll fix everything. I'll put everything up. And then I'm losing her name, but she was the one that she handed me this sheet that was full of bullet points. And she goes, the first wave, this is exactly what she goes, the first wave is at 7 o'clock or 7 a.m. We're going to have We're going to have waves every 20 minutes till 2 p.m. Here's your bullet points. Turned around and walked away. That was it. And I'm like, okay. So put up the equipment, did all that stuff, got it going, got it set. The sun was coming up, and that first wave came. And I remember in that first wave even that there was a veteran that was in there. And that was the first thing that was like, oh, this is for real. Yeah. Now, I have been in the fitness world for a long time, even before comedy. So I know that people, when they go to gyms or they're with trainers or something like that, it's more than just the physical of what they're doing, that they're exercising. So I knew that there was more going on than just these people coming there to get muddy and crazy. So there was I saw the veterans there. I went up. There's no way I'm going to memorize the bullet notes. So I just would hit them, hold them, address them, say stuff, And as the day went on, with each wave, you just saw the same thing, man. People coming there and you see their stories. You saw the people that were coming there, our first responders and all that. And it was like, Sean, that little voice, you talk to them, toss the page, just started talking to them, and everything, again, just organically just evolved from that. I had the spiel down to a point, but different things would happen. And usually when something went wrong, that's when something great happened. When the power went out, that was how the circle began, because they couldn't hear me. Walked into the middle of them, because that's how we did in Little League, have them take a knee and started talking to them there. And I'm like, this feels good. We're going to keep it. Power went out during the national anthem. Had them sing it. It felt great. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to keep this. So those things started happening. And it just, to me, it was a blessing to me, what was going on, the connection I was getting with these people. It was, dude, I'm serious with that too. It almost sounds like I'm going through therapy, but I was just so done with that me Hollywood scene that I had succumbed to. I mean, there's good things there, but I wasn't good there. And this was exactly what I needed. So I tell you guys all the time, man, you're more of a blessing to me than you think I am to you guys, or any kind of compliments I get from you guys, man. Tenfold coming from you.
Sean, you say that, and you say how you're the mirror man and you're just reflecting it back. But you have to know, like, your words and your influence has impacted thousands and thousands of people. Like, when I texted, I have a text group that I tell people, I have a new guest coming up, do you have any questions? And almost every single person's like, just tell them we love them, tell them we miss them, like, we can't wait to be out there again. You've made an impact on a lot of people through your job at Tough Mudder.
That's cool. That is so cool. Again, and that's tenfold, 100-fold the impact they have made on me. If I have a gift out there, it is that, again, I'm holding a mirror. That's it. That's my gift. I get to tell you guys what I'm witnessing, what people that love you witness about you, that great thing that you are, just in case you're not seeing it, or you're in the moment, so you're not feeling it, I get to put it to words and show you what it is that I see. That's my gift. So
do you ever have bad days? Like, are you ever like not feeling it, and you're like because again, like, people look at you like, that's, man, I want to be motivated like that guy. Like, what do you got to have a day where you're like, man, I gotta dig deep today. What do you do in those days?
Yeah, dude, every day I get up out of bed. I'd rather stay in bed, kind of thing. Just like, workouts, you ain't feeling it. You get behind, especially with the COVID thing. I knew that people were, more than people know, they were affected by that. And I'm sure I was too. Yeah, just like everybody else, man. That's why I appreciate what I see other people like yourself, other mudders doing, because that becomes sort of an inspiration for me when I'm feeling down, or I don't feel like getting out there and doing a workout, or I get, a bill from something, or an illness, whatever it is, I've got a strong connection with someone a lot through this mudder world that have experienced it. So now I've got a little bit of known to that challenge, to that problem. And also somebody I feel like a lot of people I can just go to and talk to if I need to. So no, I'm no super being and I've got no secrets. You know, again, I just have a connection to people. And so that any challenge that I go through like you do, I can use that. I've got that in my pocket.
You only have, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes with each start line, each wave. If you had to boil your start line speech down to its essence, like what is it really about? What are you trying to leave each runner with before they leave you?
The very first quote, and I'm using the little quotation marks by my head, that I came up with out of my experience, and it is mine. No one's better than your best, but your best will make you better. And that's going to make us all better. I think that captures the essence of life. You being your best, you'll discover even more of what you can be, your best. And man, just simply being your best will make this world better. You know, it starts right there. So I think that's the message most important to me that I hope I can get across.
Tell me about your new podcast. What is No Excuses about?
I am lucky that Kyle has allowed me to host the official Tough Mudder podcast. It's called No Excuses. It's so cool. I feel honored for this too. And again, they're pretty much, they've got, while they have people that I'm working with, they got some great professionals that I'm working with. They're giving me, I feel like they're giving me that same leeway that they gave me at the start line. That it's like, Sean, bring you to it. Bring that thing you have with Tough Mudder to it. And that's how I've visualized. So it's a podcast, like a lot of the podcasts, where we'll be talking to people, all kinds of people, you know, dealing with either athletics or with life in general. That's Tough Mudder. Bringing that connection, I hope, and how they do relate, that anyone, even if you've never ran a Tough Mudder before, you can feel a relationship to these people, to this world, to the OCR world as a whole, why it's being done. So that's what it is. I want it to feel the same way that you would feel at one of our start lines, whether you're running, a participant, a volunteer, or just there to support somebody. I always get good feedback. So I want people to feel like that with the podcast, you know, and also the fun that we had when we were doing the stream, the motivational stream. That stuff is fun. You know, I got to, man. I'm jonesing with the comedy. So there's going to be some humor in it.
You know, your background is stand-up comedy. And there are 2 or 3 moments every start line that I know the joke is coming, but it still makes me laugh every time. One of them is after everyone takes a knee and you have them stand up, people start brushing their legs off.
Yeah,
and
my favorite thing.
What do you say when they do that?
I said that always cracks me up. That people are what are they down on the mud? They're down in the mud and all this stuff, and they're about to go out on this muddy course. And the first thing I see them do when they stand up is brush off the dirt and the mud. It's like, we don't want to take this mud out there. You know, we've been kind to you. We're going to leave this mud here, go get our own out there kind of thing. That always cracks me up, man.
The other thing that cracks me up is you only say it on Sundays, but it's about the people that when they finish the course, they grab their headband and then they go straight to church, like wearing their headband, no shower.
Yeah.
I'm messing up the line, but it cracks me up every time you say that.
And it's funny, if you've been to a Tough Mudder before, that's the traditional speech for Sunday. I always love my Sunday mudders because they don't care about that recovery day being Monday. You know, they'll go home muddy, drunk still, bleeding, won't even shower, get up and go to work with the headband on Monday. Say, give me a raise, I'm a Tough Mudder. But it was really funny because, as I've said that a million times, and then Jay Mazza was standing next to me one time, and I said to him, I go, I love my Sunday mudders. Why, Jay? And I gave him the mic, and he said something totally different. I forgot what he said, but it had nothing to do with it. And so, of course, you know, I just mic back and kept going. But his kids, who are there with him at the events all the time, too, he's got his family there, Man, they gave it to him that whole day on the drive home. It was just hilarious to hear.
It's your big chance, Dad. You blew it.
Yeah.
The podcast, is it every week, every month? How often are you going to put out a new episode?
So we are going to launch it tomorrow. That'll be our first one. And then we'll be launching every Wednesday. From then on. I was getting the notes on it. I know we'll be available on Apple and Spotify and hopefully, again, YouTube. I want to make it visual as much as I do audio. And more things, if any more opportunities come up that we can show it, I want to put it on everything. I want to get it out there. So
I have some listener questions. I mentioned who or what motivates you, especially this last year with no events?
My immediate thought, and it sounds, again, generic. And every time I say this, man, I don't want you guys to feel like I'm sucking up to you. But it is, let's say it's a daily thing, like I'm home here. So, I see my family and there'll be a motivation to me on that day. When I'm at the events, almost every wave, somebody's coming in and, it's an in the moment feeling. It's like, holy cow, that's a motivation to me. Like you said, when you wake up immediately in the morning, sometimes I'm just, and I need that motivation and something will happen. Someone will call or message and that will be the motivation for me to just get up and get it done. No excuses, like the podcast says, because that's the Mutter mentality.
Several people wanted me to ask you, when was the last time you did something for the first time?
It's this. Yeah, it's this podcast I've never done before. This is I'm old school, man. I'm not into the whole social media thing. And I've had this conversation with Kenny Ying a lot where if you go to my Facebook page, it's mostly about my connection to you guys. I have very little personal stuff because that's, unfortunately, that's the generation that I came from. So doing all this connection on social media it's a first time for me. I'll be doing more of it and hopefully stay in that positive zone.
You know what? You're right. This is the first time. Like, are you nervous about the podcast? Like, is it's kind of a new, kind of scary thing? A lot of people going to be listening.
Only in the way that I'm nervous about anything that I want to do really well. It's the butterflies, but that's what makes it fun. It's the first time I'm doing it. But once. Boom, like talking to you, I get nervous. I'm going to talk to Will. What am I going to say? And all that stuff. But once it clicks, once I'm in the moment, I'm in the moment. It doesn't matter anymore.
We had a listener ask, how often do you get to run the Tough Mudder course? When was your last Tough Mudder?
I ran the Tough Mudder, probably for full course, I ran maybe 4 times. Because in the beginning, dude, you just get into it. I was hyped. So after I would get done at the start line, just run out there and do the course. And then that changed and turned around when I would have a chance. Because like I said, I would go to the finish line for a while. Or after Clinton took that over, I dragged all the equipment over to the Everest. We used to have the speakers and music going, and I would just be there on Everest. In fact, I remember the first time I did that, I was out there for the whole day and couldn't lift my arm for about 3 weeks after that, So, but there are different times when I've had, especially if I scheduled it with people, I have the Hoorah to Heroes group, that we would go out. We started going out with the and find the last people on the course. And Michael Bever still does this. He's one of our Tough Mudder runners. We called him the sweeper with his broom. We would find the last people on the course and then just bring them in, walk them in. And that became like a thing. So my experience mostly on the course is either that or hanging out at one of the spots, just talking to people. And
I've only done that once. The people who do a lot of Tough Mudders, they usually go for the very first wave of the day or early in the day. One time, I don't remember why, but I was the very last wave of the day, And I was with some first timers. And so we were just like kind of cruising, just walking. We weren't running very much. And that was rewarding in a whole different way.
Isn't it?
Because like some of these people had started at like 10 a.m. and it's like 3 p.m. and they're still, halfway through the course. They're not moving fast. They're not loving life maybe, but they're not going to quit. And, helping people over walls and, up the mud. Like it's a rewarding way in a totally different way than going at, 8:30 a.m.
I agree. You get to experience that first time that you had through someone else's eyes, almost like when you have kids. You want to share those great things in life that you experience, and it becomes even greater when you experience it through them. It's like, oh, look, he enjoys baseball too. Oh, look at they love the holidays, So it's kind of like that for me.
Mike wanted to know about your appearance on Friends. How did that happen? What's the story with you on Friends?
It happened the traditional way. I auditioned for it, nailed it, and was able to, have that my little time that was on there. I always liking it to, I had like being a studio musician who got to sit in for one song with the Beatles, I got to like just sit in and do something with them, even if it was just the cowbell with the Beatles, That's but it was like that. They were all very cool. I think it was the time for some reason I was seeing, this is when Jennifer Aniston was still with Brad. For some reason, I keep saying, maybe I just imagine it, but yeah, they were all really cool. And most of my time was spent with Ross because that was who I had the scene with. But nothing negative. They come on, real people, and man, they're just so darn good at what they did.
You have the podcast this year. What is your schedule like for live events this year with Tough Mudder? Do you know some of the races you'll be at?
Hopefully, if it's up to me, all of them, because I'm still putting my schedule together. They got in touch with me, and I believe N. Clinton a while ago when they were asking us for our avails. And Kyle and I are talking now about the schedule and putting that together. So if it's up to me, guys, I will be at all of them. I wish I could do like I remember when I first started, there was a lot of Tough Mudders or some Tough Mudders, not a lot, that would do like Missouri on Sunday and then fly to Maryland, Missouri on Saturday, fly to Maryland on Sunday type of thing. Man, I wish I could do that. That would be fun.
You mentioned your Facebook. How can people follow you on social media?
Right now, I think I have, I'm going to have to change up my Facebook page because I think I have like 100 more friend spots left. So I'm going to have to go to that one where you can have unlimited. And this is one of the things that the people that I'm working with at Tough Mudder, they want me to become more involved. I have my Sean Corvelle at not Gmail, but Instagram. You can get in touch with me on that. I'll become, catch up with the kids and become more active on that. And yeah, you can always email me, SeanCorvelle@gmail.com.
Sean, any last thoughts on No Excuses or Tough Mudder? Anything else?
Yeah, I hope, guys. I have a lot of fun things. One of my first talks already has been with Maddie Gregg, and Maddie, and it made me feel like, wow. As long as I've known Maddie, and as many times I've talked to him, this was like on a whole nother level. I didn't know this much of him, so it made me kind of jazzed about one, the podcast, that I'll get to talk to people on another level, but two, that I'll get to share. Hopefully it'll be like what I do at the start line. Again, I'll get to share Maddie Gregg like I share Tough Mudder at the start line.
You can hear more from Sean on No Excuses, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. The first Tough Mudder event of the year is April 24th and 25th in Fairburn, Georgia. Tickets available at toughmudder.com. Sean Corvelle, thanks much.
Thank you, Ohig.
Special thanks to Sean Corvelle. Well done, Sean. Come back anytime. Sean has the golden ticket. Also, special thanks to my text group that supplied some of the questions Sean and I talked about. You guys are awesome. Anyone can join that group. If you would like, text me, 619-485-2726. I'll get you in. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.
Hello, sir. You here to return those pants?
No, these are my pants.
Oh. Okay. How can I help you?
Well, do you have a Santa outfit left?
2 days before Christmas? Sorry, man.
Okay, look, do you have anything Christmassy? I promised my son, and I really don't want to disappoint him. Come on, you gotta have something. I'm the Holiday Armadillo!